In the heart of the Zirath Empire, a shadow grew darker than any before. Queen Sithra, ruler of the ferocious Venari clan, had ascended the throne amidst betrayal and bloodshed. Known for her icy gaze and ruthless tactics, she commanded not only armies but the fear and loyalty of countless worlds. The once mighty Zirath Empire, sprawling across star systems, now teetered on the brink of collapse under external threats and internal dissent. But Sithra's wrath promised a reckoning no enemy could ignore. Her throne room was a masterpiece of alien architecture, tall spires twisting like serpents, lit by swirling nebulae visible through transparent domes. Advisors whispered warnings of rebellion, of fractured alliances weakening the Empire's core. Yet the Queen sat unmoved, eyes burning with calculated fury. She had no intention of letting centuries of rule crumble. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with her rising wrath, a warning flare to those who dared challenge her reign. Far beyond Zirath's core worlds, secret rebel factions plotted in shadows, their numbers swelling. Many believed the Queen's harsh rule would be their salvation from tyranny. Others feared she would consume everything in her path. In the cold void, fleets mobilized silently, preparing for what would become a war unlike any other. Sithra's strategy was brutal, not just to defend, but to annihilate threats before they could gather strength. Among her closest confidants was General Kael-Thar, a fierce warrior whose loyalty was tested by his own ambitions. The Queen's wrath was both a sword and a shield, and Kael-Thar knew the coming battles would forge or shatter their bond. As scouts reported incursions near the Outer Rim, Sithra prepared to unleash her wrath and reshape the Empire's fate. The galaxy held its breath as the storm gathered, rebellion ignited in the outer sectors like wildfire. The Saren Coalition, a diverse alliance of planets oppressed under Zirath's iron grip, declared open revolt. Their fleets, though smaller, were fueled by desperation and hope. Word of Queen Sithra's merciless crackdown spread, galvanizing resistance. Her forces swept through rebel strongholds with terrifying efficiency, leaving scorched worlds in their wake. Yet every world burned only strengthened the rebels' resolve. Commander Lyra Voss, a former Venari defector turned rebel leader, orchestrated daring raids against supply lines and communications hubs. She was a thorn in Sithra's side, her knowledge of Venari tactics turning the tide of many skirmishes. Voss dreamed of a galaxy free from the Queen's wrath, a dream shared by countless who had suffered under Imperial rule. But as the war escalated, both sides prepared for a clash that would shake the stars. Back on Zirath Prime, Sithra's fury grew. She summoned the Shadow Guard, elite assassins trained in silence and death, to eliminate rebel leaders and sow chaos. Her wrath was a weapon, precise and unrelenting, yet cracks appeared within her court. Whispers of dissent stirred among her generals, uneasy with the war's brutality. The Queen's response was swift and deadly, reminding all who doubted her power. Amid the conflict, an ancient prophecy resurfaced, a tale of a queen whose wrath would either destroy or save the Empire. Scholars debated its meaning, unsure if Sithra was the savior or the harbinger of doom. The lines between loyalty and rebellion blurred as alliances shifted like shadows. In the swirling chaos, one truth remained clear: empires would crumble at her command. Queen Sithra prepared to unleash her deadliest weapon, the Venari's Edge, a fleet of warships unlike any seen before, engineered with dark biotechnology and forged in the depths of dying stars. Piloted by the Queen's most loyal warriors, these ships were living extensions of her wrath, capable of adapting and evolving mid-battle. The arrival of the Venari's Edge was a declaration. Surrender was no longer an option. General Kael-Thar led the charge, his command unwavering despite the growing whispers of treason. The fleet descended upon rebel worlds with calculated ferocity, striking first and retreating before counterattacks could form. Each victory expanded Sithra's influence, but came at a cost. The moral toll on her forces was visible in haunted eyes and whispered regrets. The queen demanded perfection, and her wrath brooked no failure. In the rebel camps, Lyra Voss devised new strategies, combining guerrilla tactics with stolen Venari technology. She formed uneasy alliances with alien mercenaries and outlaws, turning desperation into innovation. The rebellion's heart beat faster, fueled by a fierce desire not just to survive, but to end the queen's reign. Her wrath was legendary, but so was their hope. On the battlefield, the Venari's edge clashed with the coalition fleets in brutal confrontations that shattered moons and ignited supernova remnants. The cosmos itself seemed to quake beneath their war cries. Every victory and defeat carved new legends, binding friend and foe in a tapestry of blood and fire. The queen's wrath was a tempest, and the galaxy's fate hung in the balance. Within the heart of the Empire, betrayal festered like a poison. General Kael'thar, burdened by doubt and ambition, secretly met with rebel envoys under the veil of darkness. His loyalty fractured, torn between the ruthless queen he served and visions of a different future. The weight of command pressed heavily upon him, his decisions shaping the Empire's destiny. Every choice risked death or salvation. Queen Sithra's court was rife with spies and traitors. Her wrath extended beyond battlefields into the secret chambers where whispers held the power to topple thrones. The Shadow Guard intensified their hunt for dissenters, their blades silent and deadly. Paranoia gripped the palace as alliances crumbled and loyalties shifted. The queen's fury was both protector and curse. Amidst this turmoil, Lyra Voss seized the moment. She orchestrated a bold strike into Zirath Prime itself, targeting the queen's inner circle. The attack rocked the Empire's core, exposing vulnerabilities hidden beneath centuries of power. Sithra's wrath burned hotter than ever, but even she was not immune to surprise and loss. The war had become personal. The galaxy watched as the great empire faltered from within. The lines between friend and foe blurred, and the fate of millions rested on fragile trust and fierce resolve. When empires crumble at the command of a queen, nothing remains certain except the storm she brings. In the aftermath of betrayal, Queen Sithra summoned her forces for the ultimate reckoning. Her wrath was merciless, punishing traitors and rebels alike with swift justice. The imperial armies rallied, fueled by fear and loyalty. She led from the front lines, her presence a rallying cry to her warriors and a harbinger of doom to her enemies. The galaxy trembled beneath her command. The siege of Valthor was the war's darkest chapter. Rebel strongholds fell beneath relentless bombardment, their defenders crushed by overwhelming force. But the cost was high. Many of Sithra's most trusted generals perished, their deaths a reminder that even wrath has limits. The queen's heart hardened, her vision narrowing to a singular goal: total domination or annihilation. Amid the sighs and ruins, Lyra Voss and her coalition regrouped, refusing to yield. They unleashed unexpected counterattacks, exploiting the Empire's stretched lines. Every victory renewed hope, but the queen's wrath remained a shadow looming over the stars. She was both destroyer and savior, her judgment shaping the galaxy's fate. Whispers of ancient power surfaced, weapons lost to time, capable of ending the war in a single strike. Both sides sought these artifacts, desperate for an advantage. The stakes soared as the battle moved closer to a final devastating conclusion. The alien queen's wrath had reshaped the galaxy, but the final command was yet to come. Deep beneath the shattered world of Caraxes, the fabled artifact of ruin awaited discovery. Said to hold unimaginable power, it had been lost for millennia, buried beneath layers of ancient ruins and deadly traps. Queen Sithra dispatched her elite forces to seize it, knowing it could be the key to crushing the rebellion once and for all. Lyra Voss led a rival expedition, racing against time to claim the artifact for the coalition. Their journey through the treacherous caverns tested their endurance and trust. The ancient defenses were merciless, shifting labyrinths, psychic guardians, and illusions designed to break the mind. Only those united in purpose could survive. The descent into darkness. As both sides converged on the artifact, tension exploded into open conflict. Battles erupted within the ruins, each side wielding weapons and wills as deadly as the traps themselves. The artifact's energy pulsed ominously, its power awakening beneath their feet. Victory would mean supremacy, defeat, oblivion. In a final, desperate clash, Queen Sithra herself entered the fray, her wrath unleashed with terrifying force. The battle's outcome would decide not just the war, but the fate of the Empire and its enemies. When empires crumble, the source of power can tip the scales toward salvation or destruction. The artifact's power surged through Queen Sithra, amplifying her wrath to godlike proportions. She became a force of nature, her presence warping reality around her. Entire fleets shattered. Beneath her command, planets scorched by waves of energy emanating from her throne. The galaxy witnessed the rise of a wrath beyond comprehension. Yet the power came with a price. Sithra's body and mind strained under the artifact's burden, threatening to consume her entirely. General Kael Thar, torn between loyalty and love, sought to save her even as rebellion intensified. The line between queen and weapon blurred, the Empire's future hanging by a thread. Lyra Voss rallied the coalition for a final assault, determined to end the tyranny before it became unstoppable. The battlefields stretched across stars, with warriors fighting for freedom or domination. Every strike echoed with the weight of history, every sacrifice a testament to hope. In the climax of war, the Queen's wrath shaped destinies, toppling empires and forging legends. The galaxy's fate was no longer written in stars, but in the fiery heart of an alien queen whose command could end worlds. The overwhelming power of the artifact of ruin fractured the empire from within. Planets rebelled, fleets mutinied, and once loyal generals turned against Sithra. The Queen's wrath, once her greatest weapon, now threatened to destroy everything she had built. Civil war erupted across the empire, a maelstrom of fury and desperation. Kael Thar's betrayal became public, his forces clashing with Sithra's loyalists in brutal battles. The Queen faced enemies on all fronts, external rebels and internal, traitors alike. Her throne was no longer secure, it was a battleground. Her wrath turned inward, a tempest threatening to consume her soul. Lyra Voss seized the moment to press the attack, leading coalition forces into the Empire's heart. The shattered throne beckoned, promising the end of tyranny or eternal chaos. Battles raged in the ruins of once glorious cities, each strike echoing the Empire's final breaths. In this chaos, alliances shifted and destinies intertwined. The alien queen's wrath was a double-edged sword, bringing destruction, but also the hope of rebirth. With the empire fracturing, a fragile peace emerged, but the cost was unimaginable. Worlds lay in ruins, populations scattered, and scars of war ran deep. Queen Sithra, weakened but unbowed, faced her final reckoning. Would she rule through wrath or embrace a new path? General Kael Thar, haunted by his betrayals, sought redemption by brokering peace between factions. Lyra Voss extended a tentative hand, hoping to end bloodshed and build a future from chaos. The galaxy stood on the brink of transformation, rebirth, or ruin. In the Queen's final council, old enemies gathered. Decisions were made to dismantle the Empire's war machinery, redistribute power, and forge alliances rooted in trust, rather. then fear. The process was painful and fraught with tension, but necessary for survival. The wrath that had shattered empires now gave way to cautious hope. The alien queen's legacy was no longer destruction, but the dawn of a new era. Years later, the galaxy had healed. The Xyrath Empire was no more, replaced by a coalition of free worlds inspired by the alien queen's fierce leadership, but rejecting her wrathful methods. Queen Sithra, once a symbol of fear, became a figure of complex legacy, a warrior queen who reshaped the stars but also taught the cost of power. The coalition's leaders honored the past while building a future based on unity, respect, and shared purpose. Former rebels and loyalists alike worked side by side, transforming battlefields into thriving cities. The scars remained, but so did the lessons learned from war's bitter crucible. Queen Sithra withdrew from the political stage, her wrath tempered by reflection. She became a guardian of peace, a symbol that even the fiercest can choose mercy. The galaxy's stories would forever echo with her name, the alien queen whose wrath ended empires and sparked a new beginning. From ashes and fury, a new empire was born, one forged in the fire of wrath, but shining with the light of hope.